our final presentation in terms of interview today comes with the Methodist Foundation, and Gary Morrison and Mike O'Kelly will be joining me here at the table. We're very, very glad you are here. So talk with the group some about your role and then also the organization, the Methodist Foundation.
Well, thank you, Bishop. As most of you know, I serve in the role of the Executive Director of the Methodist Foundation of North Alabama. And what the Methodist Foundation is able to do for all churches in North Alabama is to provide resource and educational assistance to all churches. What does that mean? Well, we range from providing stewardship type resources to investment opportunities to scholarship and grant opportunities to churches across North Alabama. We've been around about 40 years, and so we have had the great pleasure of working with a lot of churches in the conference. We probably currently have over 600 account arrangements with churches in our conferences. Some of that could be investment arrangements. Some could be churches keeping their reserves with the foundation. Some could be scholarships and such funds that have been established in the churches, and we hold those monies for the churches and disperse them as the churches direct us to do that. And so we are excited to have the opportunity to work with our churches. What we think we are able to do and what we try to do is we help churches do ministry. Oftentimes churches, as they try to work with their congregations, their communities, and accomplish what they would like within their communities, they're limited by financial restrictions. And so in many cases, we might be able to come and help a church raise money. There are times, I have to say this, often in late spring and early summer, I will get calls from pastors who say, okay, Mike, we're talking about our annual campaign for the fall. We've done the circuit rider for 29 years and our saddlebags are worn out. What do we do? And so we try to help them with ways that they could perhaps communicate with their congregations and be able to help them raise money, support their budgets. But there are other ways that we can help as it relates to situations like planned giving, legacy gifts, will and estate planning. I actually met with a church a couple of weeks ago with a leadership group, and we were talking about opportunities for people to have wills and include in their estates bequests to their church. And as I was looking around the table, actually after the meeting was over, two people came up to me and said, Mike, how do I do a will? I don't have a will, and I'd really like to be able to leave something to my church. So oftentimes they don't want to talk about it, and there are lots of reasons why people don't do that, but we want to help, and that's something that we are given the opportunity oftentimes to do.
So there's a broad scope of work that you do and ways in which you can assist individuals and local churches. Fundraising, wills, money in terms of holding money and growing endowments and that sort of thing. So the Methodist Foundation has a lot of different ways of assisting churches and individuals.
We also have found that in many churches, I would never say that a church is supposed to work like a business, because it's not. But churches do need to be careful about how they administer things for their congregations. Policies and procedures and such as that are often things that would be beneficial to a church. Everybody knows that you have to have 2 people counting money and blah, blah, blah. There are things that you need to do for your church. But financial policies, personnel policies, gift acceptance policies, security policies, when you have ways already predetermined for your church, when things happen, you don't have to sit around and have 6 meetings to decide what to do. We've already discussed it, and we know what we're going to do, and now we're going to focus on what's most important, do ministry.
Great, great. Thank you for that. What's the biggest obstacle that the Methodist Foundation is facing right now?
You know, that's really interesting, and I hate to even bring it up, but the best way for us to communicate ways to help churches is to be with churches. And so all of us know over the last couple of years there have been a lot of things going on. And so when I would reach out to churches and try to get an invitation to come and meet with them, I'd hear, Mike, we're just, we're going through that discernment thing. We don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time. So the flip side of that now is I'm finding, well, churches have been through that process, and we do have time. And so we're looking forward to a chance to be with those churches and help them as they refocus themselves on making disciples and doing what their church always wanted to do.
Exactly. So describe some of the ways in which you find yourself in situations assisting churches. Is it normally in a large church gathering, or do you sit down with leaders? Do you sit down with stewardship teams, with finance committees? How do you usually find yourself in settings where you are assisting churches?
Well, most of the time it is in a smaller group situation, leadership teams, all of those that you described. I'm not a trained communicator like your wonderful clergy that have been up here, and so I'm not invited very often to come preach. So the fact is, I might be invited to come and share some things about stewardship or something like that. So most of my conversations tend to be with leadership teams, helping them set a course for how their congregation can best accomplish what they need to from a financial perspective. And so, if they're interested in investments, we'll talk about investments. If they want to talk about policies and procedures, we'll talk about that. If they want to talk about will and estate planning, we'll talk about that. We kind of try to break it down rather than overwhelm people with all the things we've talked about, but focus on those things that would be most helpful for them at the moment.
So for a layperson or a clergy person in this gathering to access you, what's the best route?
Look at the conference website. No, that's probably not the best way, although we are listed on the conference website as a ministry. And so our website is www.methodfound, Methodist Foundation. Isn't that clever? Method Found.
Did you come up with that?
No. Methodfound.org, and also my contact information's there. I would love to speak with any of the people here and try and help them any way we can, Bishop.
Okay, great. So is there anything else you'd like to share with the team or with this group? I mean, this is a team. We're a team together, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but is there anything else you'd like to share with the group?
if I could, two short examples of things we've had the opportunities to do most recently. One is working with one of our African American churches in Birmingham, St. Paul United Methodist Church. We were able to help them work through some financial organization issues to assist them as they met with the U.S. Park Service, and through just some small assistance that we provided them, they were able to apply for and have actually received over $1 million in grants from the U.S. Park Service.
Wow.
Because of their significant involvement in the civil rights era in Birmingham. But they wouldn't have been able to do that if we couldn't have helped them with the information that they needed to provide to the government. Secondly, we're going to have the opportunity in a partnership with Ron Schultz and the Board of Ordained Ministry, doing some work with our newly licensed pastors on church financial management and also personal financial management. And so we're looking forward to spending time with those individuals. And we've done this already with a couple of the RIM groups, and so we're looking forward to that.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that, and we are so grateful, Mike, to you and to the Methodist Foundation for the ministry that you provide and the support that you offer to the churches and clergy of this annual conference. Please express your appreciation. Thank you.